Diego Pavia and this Vanderbilt offense are in prime position to stretch the field against Virginia Tech.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making us part of your day. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. And shout out to you that make this your listen every single day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So, got an action-packed show for you. Hope you're enjoying your Labor Day weekend. But this game against Charleston Southern was exciting for a lot of reasons because I think there was a lot to be learned from this experience, and I think there was a lot that we learned about this Vanderbilt team and this coaching staff coming on the heels of this game. You cover the spread, you score 45 points, you win 45-3 with 7 seconds away from a shutout. A lot of great things to take away from this game, and so we're going to take those things away and see what we can apply and see what this team is going to kind of look like rolling into next week. And so what do we learn? Okay, we learned the crowd was phenomenal, and Vandy might have something there with this crowd that's going to start showing up. So we're going to talk about that later. We're going to talk about how dominant the defense was, 2 takeaways in this game, how just clean they played, how together they played. So we're going to get into that later as well. The offensive line, we'll break them down. They were great in a lot of aspects. There's still some things that need work. We'll talk about kind of what that looks like. But first, man, the thing that jumped off the page to me about this team is offensively just how efficient they were, and the fact that there's more of a vertical presence. We got some legit speed here. And the idea of stretching the field, I think, is going to become more prevalent as we go. Now, I don't know that they wanted to do that a whole lot. I think there were some things they wanted to work on. And I think there's some holes and gaps in the pass pro that kind of led them to not stretch it as much as they did. But I think still, compared to last year, this team, this offense, and Tim Beck was more aggressive. They were more down the field with their concepts. There was that play, that wheel route they hit to Eli Stowers that was amazing. He got a step on his guy, and Diego put it right there on the money. They took some shots. There was that one to Junior Sherrill that he almost came up with in the corner of the end zone on a fade route. Red zone fade route. But there's some things like you can see they're starting to take some shots downfield, and it's because they have some legitimate speed now. I think as a receiving core as a whole, I think you've got some things there. Now, Eli Stowers will become more healthy each and every week. They're going to try to work him slowly. He didn't play a ton, didn't really have to, and that's a good thing. But this group is going to be able to stretch the field, and that's going to make it a lot more fun because you have guys like Caleb Barnett is somebody I didn't expect to score the first touchdown, and B, be such a factor in this offense. I didn't expect that. I'm glad it happened. I didn't expect this so soon. I knew he was going to contribute at some point, but I did not expect that quite so soon. Trey Richardson looks like a major hit, and he's going to be somebody that is going to contribute in a huge way this season. Junior Sherrill showing that he is much improved consistency with his route running, the ability to go up and get it, catching it. Just watching him at the catch point is awesome because he is like last year, if there was a contested ball, it was 50-50 at the absolute best that he was going to come down with it. There were a lot of contested catches that he made last night and there was one in particular where he came back to the ball. It was a big third down deep in our own territory. I mean, we got a lot of field in front of us, and Pavia puts one right on the money, and he comes back to it right there on the sideline, toe tapped it, caught it out front, ripped it away from the defender, just absolute textbook wide receiver form. Those are the things. It was like a deep comeback too. So those are the things that if you can push it vertically, you can sell those routes. You can do a lot of things, and it's going to be fun to watch. Trey Richardson's going to be able to push it vertical. Tristan Brown's going to be able to push it vertical. Like you're going to be able to stretch them horizontally and vertically. And that's going to make this offense really go, because Caleb Barnett scored on that jet sweep. He got the edge on the defense. Like he's going to be able to do those type of things. The running backs getting involved in the passing game, like Sedrick Alexander catching a wheel route out of the backfield. Or no, it wasn't out of the backfield. It was out of empty. They did a vertical switch, and he caught it there, flying through the air, basically landing on his shoulder blades, falling backwards. And that was amazing. Like things like that, like when your back can get involved in those type of things as well. Like it just brings a whole new dimension to your offense that you didn't have last time you played Virginia Tech, right? You didn't have this. Like there wasn't all these weapons the last time, last year when Vandy played Virginia Tech. They mostly grilled that one out on the ground. They mostly beat them at the line of scrimmage and held the ball on them. Now they've got a little bit of explosive aspect to their offense. And I think that obviously by doing that, that's going to provide juice to the defense. That's going to provide juice to the crowd, which in that sense, it's going to take juice away because they're going to be on the road. But it's just a lot of fun to watch. Like you want to, like I mentioned earlier, the crowd was phenomenal. I mentioned several times on the postcast, the crowd was phenomenal. It was great to see that, because normally it's half capacity at best with an FCS opponent. This time it was not. And you want to give the crowd something to see. I think they're going to come back. I think you're going to see a shift in the way the crowd is constructed, or at least I hope so, that with this speed, people want to see touchdowns. People want to see things going down the field. People want to see that ball flying through the air. People want to see a show. And Diego Pavia was a maestro back there on Saturday, and it was amazing. It was great. He was phenomenal. But like some of the takeaways I had, like that's the first takeaway. Pavia was sharp. The offense discovered it had some real speed and some depth at some skilled positions. AJ Newberry, somebody that I wasn't sure how much he was going to contribute, if at all. They gave him a little run, and he got about as much run as he needed, and he was effective. And he's going to be more effective as he gets more healthy and more confident and more, and like when you come back from an ACL, the mental aspect of that is very, very, like that's a difficult thing to overcome. And it's something that he kind of has to just work through, and it just takes reps. So he's getting him in the groove, getting him in the end zone has to be basically a shot of adrenaline for him. MK Young looked good, right? Lassiter, that guy, he's electric. I don't know, like, what situations you need to put him on, but, like, he's got to have something a little more. That dude's electric. I don't know how consistent he is in practice or how consistent he is with his assignments, but, man, when he gets the ball in his hands, he's exciting. And I understand. We got to take all this with a huge grain of salt. It's Charleston Southern, okay? And so I'm going to take it with the largest grain of salt in the bucket. However, the things that I saw, doesn't matter who the opponent is. The speed that was discovered, the ability to stretch the field vertically, I think is going to be a huge X factor in this upcoming matchup. And I'm glad we learned that. And that's something that I wanted to come away from this game knowing, hey, can we stretch the field, or is it going to be a little bit more of a process to get that going? And I think the answer was pretty obvious. We're going to be able to stretch the field vertically and horizontally. That's a thing. Like if you can stretch it horizontally, your run game is going to improve. And that's amazing. So found some real speed. Trey Richardson is going to be a dude. Caleb Barnett, he's a guy. He's like that. He's got that pit bull mentality, but he's like 5'7", 160 pounds, but he plays like he's 6'2", 260, running a 4.3. Like he plays like he thinks he's Ray Lewis out there crushing people. He's not shy. What I'm saying is he's not backing down from contact, and I absolutely love it. This team just inspires a lot of confidence that this is going to be a special season. And watching some of the other games, I believe them. Like they just looked in tune. They played together. They played with a great energy, great spirit. togetherness. When Lassiter scored that touchdown, dude, that sideline erupted, dude. They just love playing the game. It seems like, from what I can gather, it seems like they love playing the game of football. So I'm very excited about that. And something I'm excited about is this offensive line. I think the things that didn't go so well with that group, very fixable. So not a huge problem. But this, they're bulldozers, man. Henderson is a freaking giant, and I love it. We're going to talk about the offensive line next. Hey, but first, I got some new set pieces, and those things go on my head every once in a while as well. It's the game, and it's a quick question for you guys out there, man. If you could go back in time, sit front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the game. Those aren't just hats. They're the same vintage styles fans wore back in the 80s and 90s, and guess what? I wore some of those, but they still go for the same price as they did back then. Use code LOCKEDON and you'll get your vintage hat for $16.99. So head to thegamecaps.com. So that's thegamecaps.com. Grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design and use code LOCKEDON for an exclusive discount, because legends wear the game. Look over my shoulder right here. That's the vintage bar. That's the vintage circle. That's the retro circle. Go get those, thegamecaps.com right here, and you'll thank me later. I promise you. Speaking of thanking me, talking about game time, college football is so back, and I couldn't be more exciting. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it, man, but let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. You got endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout, all of those awful things. That's why I use Game Time, man, the app that gives you the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. So I pulled up the Game Time app, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals, man. I'm talking about any of your games, right? The Vanderbilt game, hell, you know, the game that's playing right now, the North Carolina game later on, like any of those games, and there's prices just as low as $25. Can you believe that? And the app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before I bought it. The zone deal thing is really cool. You pick the section, Game Time picks the seats. You save big. It's amazing. And honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets ever before. And I'll never go back. Trust me on that. Game Time is amazing. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time app today. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen. We appreciate you. Shout out to you. Wherever you get your podcast, wherever you watch your podcast on YouTube, thanks for making us part of your day. If you need a second listen, Locked On SEC is a place to go. If you look on the channel, we do a SEC squad roundtable. I'm going to try to join that more frequently. And today I couldn't get in until literally the last minute. I jumped on and they brought me in. But that was an amazing deal. That's going to be kind of a new programming thing, so you should check that out. But talking about this game, Charleston Southern, what did we learn? Like I told you, we learned we can stretch the field vertically, and that's going to put Virginia Tech in some danger. Also, we learned that this offensive line, holy cow, dude, like offensive line was great overall. Bulldozers in the run game, that's the thing that stood out to me the most. Like the run blocking was amazing, but they need to work on pass pro technique. Penalties were bad, but that's fixable, right? They had, tons of holding calls. There was a touchdown called back from a hold. Like there were some things that you look at the offensive line and you're just like, oh, it's so draining, right? But honestly, it's fixable. It's technique related probably. And it's, sometimes they're just going to get you. Sometimes they're just going to have good plays, and you just, instead of getting your quarterback killed, you just got to hold, right? And all of that can be true. But if I had to guess, Isaiah Glatt stopped his feet. He got some holding calls, 72. He stopped his feet. Bryce Henderson stopped his feet. They're not as good going backwards as they are going forward, and this line is built for a dominant running attack, which is kind of what what they want. They're built for physicality. They're built for just road grading. And yeah, they did a bunch of that, and they're going to do a bunch of that. And that excites me about this offensive line. And I'm very, very fired up that this group is going to be very, very good. And I think, circling back to the first segment, I think having these weapons, I think being able to stretch things out horizontally is going to help open up run lanes. It's going to help separate defenders. It's gonna get defenders running sideways more often. There's going to be some window dressing in the back end. There's going to be some things that you go off of that's going to make life easier for the offensive line. And anytime you can make life easy for the offensive line, they're going to appreciate you for it. They're going to play hard. They're going to grind. Coach K's got them rolling, dude. They're gonna get after it, and they'll fix the penalties. They'll fix all that stuff, and they will do wonders in the run game. And speaking of the run game, Sedrick Alexander, holy Toledo, man, that was just watching him play is a treat. And I think people when people judge running backs, I think. When you see the comments, or I got a comment last night that said he has no burst, and Seti, you got to know kind of what Seti is. He's not he's fast. He's much faster than I am, and he could ever think about being. But knowing that, you compare different styles of running backs, and there's speed guys. Then there's bruisers, heavy guys, they just wear on you like a sledgehammer. And there's guys like Seti, he's just so in tune with things. He's so smart. Football intelligence is high. He just glides. He just goes, man. He just kind of goes and just pops out and then he'll lay his shoulder into you. He'll go up and get one in the passing game. He's an all around great back. He doesn't have home run speed, but he has enough speed to make himself dangerous. He can separate in the passing game. He can go up and get it. He can go up and get one. He's physical enough to run between the tackles, in a workhorse type manner. And he's just an all around great back because he just understands. And a lot of it is just he anticipates running lanes. He understands where things are going to happen. He understands the concepts that you're running, and he understands where he needs to be, the patience of all of that, the physicality to understand that sometimes it's BYOB, be your own blocker, and you just gotta blast through there and make a defender just make a business decision next time he comes down to tackle you. You've got to make your presence known. He's good at that. He's good at avoiding. He's good at getting chunk yardage. He's good at setting you up. The speed guys are Newberry and Young. And those are the guys that I think have a little more pop to them, and they have a little more danger. And those guys can run inside too. Those guys have some physicality. We have a really good stable of running backs. But Seti is just kind of that all-around dude. And just to know his style will help you understand that he's not predicated on elite speed. And he's just so smooth, man. He just cuts through that. He just cuts through the line of scrimmage, and he's just there, second level. He's got some suddenness to him. He doesn't strike me as just an outright accelerator, but he's just fast. I know that makes no sense. I realize that. He's not an accelerator. You're not going to know that he's fast. He just is. And I don't know that he's ever going to break a 75-yarder, but he'll break a 40-yarder. He can pull away from me. Like I said, he can get separation in the pass game, so we know he's fast. We know he's got it in him. I'm excited that this offensive line is going to be right there creating those run lanes for him. I think with him being able to do his thing, I think MK Young emerging a little bit. I think having some stuff on the, going laterally on the jet sweeps is going to be really good. I don't think Pavia is going to have to carry the brunt of the run game much more than he already has. And I think he's going to be able to avoid taking unnecessary hits. I think he's going to be outstanding in that regard. And, I'm looking forward to what's going to be a pretty good quarterback duel. So, but yeah, I'm excited about this offensive line. I'm excited about this run game. I think this offense is really just kind of sharp right now, and I can't wait to see them against some real good, real live competition here. One of the marquee matchups of week 2, Virginia Tech and Vandy. Too bad it's on the ACC network, so you better be calling your cable provider and making sure you have the ACC network and make sure you have that downloaded. So, but man, I'm excited about this defense. We're going to end the show with that. The crowd was phenomenal, so I'm going to kind of try to combine all that, but we'll talk about that next. Speaking of next, I want to get you guys, we need some help, man. I need a favor. Got an important request for you. Locked On wants to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about your advertising. So go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. Thanks for helping us out. Also, guys, you've probably heard of Viagra Cialis, maybe even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougier Ready. Rougier Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougier's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, on average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rougier might be the answer, because over 150,000 men have already made the switch. And I love that it's completely online. Rougier connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. You can even read real customer reviews on their site. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. So head to rougier.com/lockedoncollege and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/lockedoncollege and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit Rougier website for full safety information. All right, wrapping up the show here, man. What did we learn? We learned that at Locked On Vandy is a place you can go for all your to follow the show and for all your information here as it pertains to Locked On Vandy. We learned that the offense is going to be really, really good. This offensive line's got a little bit of work to do in the pass pro, but I think this thing is going to be electric, right? It's going to be electric. But and this is certainly not the least thing, but the defense was dominant. We learned that too as well. We learned that the defense was absolutely outstanding. They showed out, man. They dominated the line of scrimmage. They had 2 takeaways. They were able to rotate a lot of players and build a lot of depth. And what you see pictured here is Miles Capers and Corday Sidnor after they recovered a fumble. It was a sack fumble. Capers just bulldozed his offensive lineman into the quarterback, stripped the quarterback, and Corday Sidnor was right there to pounce on it. So it was a dual effort there, but C.J. Hurd had an interception as well in his first big action. So this defense is going to be amazing. They got a lot of reps for a lot of guys. Carson Lawrence, Vonzell Hinton, Dante Carter got in on the action. I think you had, Marlon Jones, Jordan Matthews, Colby Taylor, Jalen Lackey, Martell Height, like all those corners got significant time. Linebackers, all that stuff. Bryce Cowan, Brian Longwell, Langston Patterson. You got to rotate through most of your defensive linemen. Like, I think you got a lot of people in the ballgame. And you got them in significant minutes. You got them in significant situations. And you sprinkled them in with the starters so that it wasn't just like the full JV unit going out there. It wasn't the full-scale twos, right? What I liked about these rotations is that, they did it on offense as well. But, like, I'll say it from a defensive perspective is, when they rotated guys in, they had starters sprinkled so that, like, they knew what it was like. Like, you could line down and look over and see Zaylin Wood or Corday Sidnor, or like you can hear Langston Patterson barking signals. Like it wasn't a full scale change, which is great because you still had that leadership on the field. And, those guys need reps. And I think in future blowouts, maybe that you'll make some more wholesale changes. But, I think this was a scenario where they felt like they could, and they weren't really in danger. But I think eventually they got everybody out. But it was good to see that you were able to get some guys in and playing with the ones and mixing in with the ones, because like that's gonna happen throughout the season. Like you're gonna like week 6, you're gonna look at this roster and go, he's not a one, but he's with the ones, and how's he gonna assimilate? And it's a lot better. It's a much easier transition if you're already working in with the ones in rotation. And if you're rotating a lot of guys, Kirby Smart does this at Georgia too. And I'm sure a lot of defenses do this. A lot of great defenses do this. They rotate a lot of guys, get a lot of reps. You got fresh bodies. You got guys that are in that situation because it's such a physically demanding side of the ball that, guys are going to get banged up, beat up, and you just need guys that you trust and that are good to be able to go in there and not have a significant drop off. So I'm excited about the way this defense is playing. I'm excited about the takeaways. Like that's the thing you wanted to see. Like, is this defense just making standard plays and just it's Charleston Southern's awful? But no, they were redefining the line of scrimmage. They were flying around. They were hitting. They were celebrating with each other. They had 2 takeaways. They were getting to the ball. They were swarming. And that's what you wanted to see. Like you were supposed to shut out Charleston Southern. They didn't, but you were supposed to. Like 3 points is still kind of a shutout. But like they did exactly scoreboard-wise, stat-wise, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. But what I really wanted to see was them dominate, reestablish the line of scrimmage, gang tackle, take the ball away, those type of things. Like just eliminate all hope early, and they did. And Charleston Southern could never recover. So that's one thing we learned about that defense, and that'll be something that'll be huge. Like I said, that'll be huge coming into this week, being able to immediately flip that switch and become a nightmare. That's what you have to be able to do, and that's something that I think is going to, like I said last week, this game was going to set the tone for a lot of things. This is one of those things. This is how you get Virginia Tech's crowd out of the game early. Stuff like this. Take the ball away. Tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Contain. Break things up. Just be a nuisance. Be a pest. Swarm. All those things make it tough. So and it's going to be a tough environment. They're going to need it. Anyway, before we get out of here, I want to make mention of the crowd, because the crowd was absolutely outstanding. And I made mention of this in the postcast, and I want to make sure I make mention of it again, because I think it's important for Vanderbilt fans to know that they actually did make a difference. Because Vanderbilt's one of those fan bases, they're like cats. They're just very finicky. And you have to give them something to watch. And that's with most fan bases. But like I think Vanderbilt fans don't really feel like they're making an impact on the game. And a lot of it's because people buy Vanderbilt season tickets just to sell them. And when it becomes a home away from home, it makes it tough. It makes it tough on this team to play. Like if you play 12 road games essentially every year, it'd be pretty tough. Be pretty tough to win. You're always battling crowd noise. Like you shouldn't have to battle the things you battle on the road. It's already hard enough. So what I'm doing is I'm commending Vanderbilt's crowd. I'm commending the Vanderbilt fans. They showed up. It was great. The atmosphere was phenomenal. The new South End Zone, beautiful. Noise, more of it, right? So I think when Georgia State rolls into town in like 3 weeks, I think there needs to be a crowd there. And I think that needs to be a hostile crowd. And I think they need to make Vanderbilt a tough place to play. Make Vandy a nightmare again, right? So it's MVANA. I don't even know what that spells, but make Vandy a nightmare again. Make First Bank Stadium a nightmare again. Do that. And you do that by selling out. You do that by being loud and louder every single week, right? And just bring it, man. Like a lot of these college atmospheres, a lot of these teams that thrive at home, it's because like teams walk in and there's an intimidation factor. And Vanderbilt, I know the stadium itself isn't physically imposing, but like you can make it what it is, and you can make it loud because it's kind of built for that. And so that's going to be interesting to see kind of moving forward. But last thing, it was an interesting week one. What did we learn? What did we learn about South Carolina, Virginia Tech? We'll talk about that later in the week. We'll talk about, some of the games that, later on, some of the games that you might need to root for and how they affect Vanderbilt. And Alabama's in some real trouble, guys. That was not good. And there might be a mutiny down there. They're not necessarily believing. They might be right for the picking. So in a few weeks, if they haven't figured it out, Vandy might go down to Tuscaloosa, win for the first time since Kurt Page was under center down there. So that's going to be fun. But we got a nice week for you guys, nice action-packed week, and we'll get after it, man. But until next time, anchor down, peace out. This is Locked On Vandy. Like, subscribe, all that above. Peace.